guys, V here. Sorry that it has been a while since I uploaded a video. I've been dealing with issues at home that have needed my attention, so I hope you understand. Today I want to discuss a specific entity that is involved in both the Mothman case as well as the Kentucky Goblins case, and that is Indrid Cold. Now, the idea for this video was given to me by one of my subscribers, so thank you very much. Before we get into the backstory on Indrid Cold, I would like to give you guys a little bit of a description of what he has been reported to look like. Now, according to online references and people who have spotted him, Indrid Cold, also known as the Smiling Man, is considered to be a humanoid entity that has been referenced in such cases as the Mothman and the Kentucky Goblins. Indrid Cold is described to be human-like in appearance and is thought to be either an alien or part of the Men in Black. Indrid Cold has been reported to be over 6 feet tall with dark or deeply tanned complexion, small black eyes that are set far apart, and shiny, slicked back, short, dark hair. It has been reported that he does not have a nose or ears, but he has a wide smile on his face anytime he has been seen by someone. Reports of Indrid Cold state that he has been seen wearing a dark overcoat with a metallic or reflective-looking uniform underneath. Now, for the backstory on Indrid Cold, right before the Silver Bridge collapsed in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, people started reporting encounters with a strange creature that they could not identify. This creature eventually became known as the Mothman. Then in 1966, when the Silver Bridge collapsed in Point Pleasant, West Virginia, killing 46 people and injuring many, many more, another bizarre sighting started to occur but was overshadowed by the Mothman himself and the bizarre and deadly disaster of the Silver Bridge collapse, and that was Indrid Cold. A man by the name of Woodrow Derenberger sold sewing machines door-to-door in the late 1960s, and on November 2, 1966, around 7 p.m., Derenberger was driving along Interstate 77 heading home when all of a sudden a sewing machine became dislodged in the back of his vehicle and tumbled onto the floor of his van. Derenberger had to pull over to the side of the road to move the sewing machine back to where it had fallen from. After returning to the driver's seat of his van and pulling back onto the interstate, a set of headlights passed his vehicle and then slowed down in front of him. Derenberger once again had to stop, but this time in the middle of the road in order to keep from hitting the vehicle. Once he had stopped his van, he glanced up to see if the vehicle that had stopped in front of him was a cop, but then he realized that this was not a cop or any other vehicle that he had ever seen before, but instead resembled an old-fashioned kerosene lamp with a central bulge and flared edges. On the side of the vehicle, a door opened and a man stepped out. According to Derenberger, the man looked to be a normal-looking man with slicked back, dark-colored hair, dark eyes, and deeply tanned skin. The tanned skin struck Derenberger as being odd since this interaction occurred at the beginning of November, which would have been kind of strange considering how cold it was. The man began to walk over to Derenberger's van, and the closer the man got, Derenberger was able to make out that the man was wearing a dark overcoat with a shiny or metallic jumpsuit underneath. Once the man got close enough to Derenberger to be able to communicate with him, he spoke and identified himself as Indrid Cold, and he stated that he came from a place that was less powerful than the United States. He was very reassuring and admitted to Derenberger that he was flesh and blood just like Woodrow, and in no way was special or spectacular. Indrid Cold also encouraged Derenberger to report the encounter to the authorities as soon as he could if he felt like he needed to. Before leaving, Indrid Cold told Derenberger that this would be the first of many meetings that the pair would have. The whole conversation was delivered via telepathy and was not spoken verbally, according to Derenberger. After the conversation ended, Indrid Cold got back into this vehicle and flew off. After this initial encounter, Derenberger was visited by Indrid Cold several more times. On some of the visits, Indrid Cold was not alone and was accompanied by other men. Derenberger later reported that these new friends of his were from a planet called Lenalos, and that he was told that he would be allowed to visit this planet one day in the future. Eventually, Derenberger decided to contact a renowned UFO investigator by the name of John Keel, who had written several books on the Mothman and was well acquainted with the whole paranormal aspect of the Mothman case. John Keel reported that during his investigation into the Mothman, he received several strange phone calls from someone who called himself Indrid Cold. Now, Derenberger and John Keel were not the only people to report being contacted by Indrid Cold. On the same night that Derenberger first reported to have been visited by Indrid Cold, two men on the exact same road as Derenberger spotted what looked to be an elongated object that had landed in front of their vehicle. They were forced to stop because of this, and as they watched in horror, a man exited the object and started to walk over to them. He then began to question the two men. The men reported that the questions that Indrid Cold was asking them seemed to be pointless. Once he was done asking them these questions, he turned around, got back into his strange spaceship, and left. Several weeks before the first contact between Derenberger and Indrid Cold, two boys encountered a strange man that scared them both terribly. These boys were James and Martin. They were walking home alone along 4th Street in Elizabeth, New Jersey when they reached an area called the Turnpike, which was an elevated area with a high wire fence and a steep incline. The two boys reported that behind the fence stood a strange man. Neither of the two boys knew how the man got there or where he had come from, but they reported that he just stood there, grinning at them for an uncomfortably long time. The boys reported that the man was unusually tall with a bald head, and he wore a shiny green jumpsuit. Now, Indrid Cold was also mentioned in the documentary series that was created called Hellier. Indrid Cold was mentioned by one of the men that contacted the paranormal group that created the documentary. The man suggested that Indrid Cold was somehow interconnected with the Kentucky Goblins case. So if you are interested in finding out more about that, I suggest that you go onto YouTube or Amazon Prime and watch the 2 seasons of Hellier. It is super creepy and informative, and this is the best time of the year for these type of creepy topics. There have not been any new reports of Indrid Cold since the 1960s, and as of now, we are not sure who he was or where he came from. What we do know from the reports like Derenberger's and Keel's is that he brought information to help humanity and is thought to have been from the future. Whether that is true or not, we may never find out, but one thing that is for sure is that the situation in which he appeared was strange and otherworldly. Okay guys, this is the part of the video that I give my honest opinion, and when it comes to Indrid Cold, I have to say that with all the testimony and witness reports from Derenberger and Keel, and the fact that this entity somehow connects with both the Mothman and the Kentucky Goblins case, it really makes me believe that at least to some degree this individual exists. The reports of this man connecting both Derenberger and those other two men in the almost exact same fashion makes this case even more credible in my opinion. Well guys, that's it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed this topic. I love doing the video on the Mothman, and I thought that this topic would tie in nicely with that video as well as the Kentucky Goblins video. It is truly a super creepy topic to cover and one that I was more than glad to do. Once again, I would like to thank my subscriber who suggested me doing this video. If you guys enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing, and if you want to see more videos like this one, please hit the like button. As always, I want to thank you for watching my videos and supporting me and my channel. I want to thank each and every one of my current subscribers and of course welcome any new ones. I will have another video for you guys hopefully sooner than later. Thanks again, and I'll see you guys next video. Bye.